Hello students, this video will pick up where we left off and cover how to add color and atmosphere to your skyline sketch. If you watched the last video and were able to follow the steps, you have created a sketch of at least 3 overlapping layers of space of skyline. So in this sketch from New York City, we have a background, midground, and foreground. I think this extra one here is just junk, so I can click on that and delete it. There are some key steps if you drew things out of sequence that might help you. The way that Gravit works, the path that is on top will always be, blocking what is underneath. So you always want to make sure that your foreground layer is in front. And then, you have your midground, and then you have your background. If you drew the buildings out of sequence, that is fine, but you can move them around. So I could move the background buildings to the top, and now if you can see this shape is blocking the shapes that are underneath it. The midground, I could move that, but that's only really if you drew the buildings out of sequence. So let me just make sure that I organize them so that I have foreground, background, foreground, midground, and then background. The only problem with this tip is that you want to make sure that you actually put it in between. So you see how right there it shows that little red line. You don't want to click it so that it drops on top of midground. You want to kind of put it underneath. So that is how you would organize. So now I want to kind of get into adding color to these shapes. So I'm going to actually scooch my webcam up to the top here because I'm going to start by coloring the foreground, and then I'll gradually make each layer going backwards, gradually lighter, lighter, lighter. You could do this opposite, that's fine. But the key here is that it has a clear step by step by step, and it gradually gets darker. So in this shape, if I click on the foreground shape, either with over here or using my pointer tool, there are a number of characteristics or properties. And over here, there are 2 that are super important for this assignment. One is fill. So I'm going to just click this little white circle. And now I have the color picker box, and I can pick anywhere in this rectangle to pick a color. However, if I want to change colors, I'm going to kind of move this around to kind of pick things. But what I have seen students do is, they have black, and then they kind of like spin this around, and they're like, how come it's not changing color? You really want to make sure that you pick something in here first, then spin the wheel around and find a color that you like. So I'm going to kind of pick like a teal green. And again, because this is the foreground layer, I'm going to turn this way down so that it is very dark. So I'm going to kind of drag this point down to bottom. Not like super down all the way till it's black. I still want it to be recognizably teal, but I just want it to be a very dark teal. So next I'm going to go to the next picture. So I'm going to click on this next layer, and I'm going to click that same button. Now I can go to this little button called In Use. What is going on? Oh, advertisements. If you get one of these ads, just close it. I can go to In Use, and it will just tell me I can select the last color that I used and then just move it up and hit enter. Or I can also use this little eyedropper tool, and the eyedropper tool, I can then pick up a color from anywhere in this. And that's also really super nice because you can pick up a color, from a photograph. So if you're trying to match a picture, that will come later. If you're in your digital art class, you're going to use that a lot. So now I've kind of picked that color, and I'm going to just make this layer a little bit lighter. Not fully light, like I'll end up here, but I'll kind of start down here. So next I'm going to pick the next layer, do the same thing. Pick this, click the circle. I can use the in use tab and then lighten, lighten, lighten. This final layer should be the lightest. And because I've kind of got a lot of dark, I could go all the way here, but then it almost looks kind of weird. So I might want to like think about lightening these others so that it doesn't look so dramatic of steps. It's a little bit more even. Click, 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 1, 2, 3. Here we go. So that's how you would add color to your buildings, but the question then becomes like, how do you add atmosphere to your artwork? So I will then, now I'm going to kind of get into how to do the sky. So I could just take this whole photo. At this point, I don't need it, and I'm going to just click delete. Now I'm going to then just take a big rectangle shape. And the rectangle, if it says circle here, just click this little down arrow and you can draw a rectangle. You can also see that the shortcut to draw a rectangle is R. And I'm going to just draw a big rectangle over the whole thing. And it's gonna, for a minute, you're gonna panic and say like, oh my gosh, where's my artwork? Just notice that the rectangle is above everything. So now we know to move this to the bottom. We can just click on this and drag it to the bottom of our stack. Or if you don't like doing that, you can also right click and then type arrange, send to back, and that will also bring it to the very back. So I'm going to add some atmosphere to this using the fill technique. If I'm going for like a daytime vibe, I could pick another light blue and kind of have a single color. If I was going for a nighttime vibe, I could do like a dark kind of purple. That actually looks really nice. But I do want to show you how to make a more of an atmosphere of like sunset, sunrise, something cool like that. And that is hidden out underneath this button called Color Fill. So there are two different types of gradients. An ombre in painting is also called a gradient in digital art. And what this means is it's a gradient or a gradation of two different colors. And any gradient has a bar like this. And you have color 1 and you have color 2. And you can choose what you want color 1 to be. And then you can choose what you want color 2 to be. Or you could even do more than that. You can click somewhere in the middle and pick a third color. This is a little crazy because it's kind of alternating colors, but if I wanted to do like a traditional sunset of like, blue, like a rainbow blue, let's do like a blue over here. Let's do like yellow fades to orange, fades to blue. So here. Just kind of playing with the way that they fade together. Think I'm good. Ooh, I like that. You could, Jen, I think I always prefer 2 colors. So let's do 2 colors and let's do like a sunset view. But I do want to just kind of show you that. I liked that purple and blue combo. So now I'm going to make it look like it's fading top to bottom. So there are features here where you can rotate this to kind of make it look like it's fading from pink to blue. Or you can just rotate that all the way around and make it look like it's fading pink or blue to pink. Now I'm looking at this and I'm like, I wish it was a yellow and blue. Kind of like this. It looks very much like a sunset right after the sun goes down. You can also like play around with this bar, but I feel like that's not totally needed to get like a perfect angle. You can also take this same color, this same fade style. Let me make sure I'm selecting the picture. And you can turn it from a linear gradient to a radial gradient. And a radial is just kind of going to be more of like that sun starburst kind of thing. And you can control how big the starburst is by stretching this out if you wanted kind of a bigger starburst, or stretching this out to kind of play with, the size of the radial or the circle of light. You can also kind of move this up. Say you were trying to do like a sun and you wanted to put like a sun in there. So that is how you would add color and atmosphere to your artwork. When you are finished, let's get back to that linear gradient. I totally lost it. When you're finished and you've got a kind of color combo that you like, let's do rotate, rotate. When you're finished, you've got a color combo that you like. Just remember to, in order to export this to Google Classroom, you do want to save it as a JPEG. So save it first to your cloud account, and then just go to File, Export as JPEG, and then this will allow you to attach it to Google Classroom. If you're having trouble with this artwork, please email me, and we can set up a time to meet during office hours. Otherwise, I hope everybody's safe and well, and have a great day.